Congratulations and welcome to the world of Mac. You've just switched over from Windows and you have no idea what you're doing. I have good news. I've helped a ton of people through this transition and I've narrowed it down to the top 10 things that you need to know to feel at home. I promise you it's worth it when you've done all these things that I'm going to show you and your life is dramatically better. Comment below with what your favorite tip was. Right-click in Windows gives you all kinds of helpful options depending on what you right-click on. On Mac laptops, you still have right-click. It's just a two-finger click, which gives you that same thing. And you get all these great options. You can open things with a different app. You can get info. You can move something to the trash. Lots of functionality there. If you have a Mac with an Apple mouse, you actually need to turn on the right-click because for whatever ridiculous reason, it's not turned on by default. To set it up how you like, you just go into System Preferences, and then you go into Trackpad, and under the point and click section where you see secondary click, you can choose the different options here. Either it's click with two fingers or it's click in the bottom right corner. You can pick the one that you like. And if you have a mouse, you go into System Preferences again and you go to Mouse and you turn on secondary click where you click on the right side of the mouse. So now go and experiment and right click on literally everything to see what happens. When you want to close a program in Windows, you're used to clicking on the little X in the top corner. On the Mac, now the little red X up in the top left corner, that actually only closes the frontmost window, but the program, which is now called an application, stays open and it keeps using resources. This will slow down your Mac and give you the spinning rainbow beach ball, which will drive you clinically insane. You can see which apps are still open because on the dock here, you've got a little dot underneath any of the apps that are still using resources. So you want to actually get used to quitting the app. When you're in an application, if you want to quit it, you just go to the Safari menu, go to the application menu in the top left, and then you go down to quit. And you can see there's a keyboard command here, Command Q. So you can also just do Command Q on the keyboard, which will quit the application. Another way to do it that's great is if you right-click the icon on the dock, then it gives you the option to quit right here. If something is unsaved, it'll always ask you to save before quitting, so you don't have to worry about losing information. In Windows, you used to use Alt-Tab to switch between open programs and Windows. You might have also used Alt-F4 to quit programs or close Windows. The Mac version of this is Command-Tab, and it looks like this. You hold Command on the keyboard and press Tab to get to the one that you want to select. It'll only show you the applications that are open, but not the windows within those applications. So if you combine this with Q, you actually have an awesome way to quit applications. Any applications except the Finder, you can't quit that one, and I'll talk about that one next. So you just hold Command, press Tab, get to the one that you want to quit, and then press Q. Now if you want to see all of the windows that are open on your Mac, if you're working on a couple of different things, for example, go down to your trackpad on your laptop and three-finger swipe up. Now this is going to show you Mission Control, which gives you access to see everything kind of at a glance. You just click on the one that you want to go to. If you want to set up a hot corner, the hot corner is cool because basically you just toss your mouse into the corner of the screen and it'll do cool stuff. You just go into System Preferences and you go into Mission Control and then Hot Corners, and then for the bottom right corner you tell it to go to Mission Control and you say OK and you close that. Now if you throw your mouse down into the bottom right corner, it will show you all of the different things that you have open. And this is particularly cool if you have lots of stuff open, so you can actually see everything at a glance. And you can switch between these open windows and applications. Now, just do that over and over again because it's kind of awesome. File Explorer in Windows is great, and many people miss this the most. The Mac equivalent of this is the Finder, which is down here on the dock, and it needs a bit of customizing to get it to where you'll like it. One of the first things I do is I always turn on the path bar because I want to know where I am at all times. So if you go under the View menu and you go to Show Path Bar, this will show you where you are. And it shows up down here in Windows and File Explorer. It's actually at the top. And Pathbar rocks. You can double click on things here. You can drag things into different folders. Like if I go into my documents and I'm nested into deeper folders, you can drag stuff onto those. That's super cool. Another one I always turn on is the status bar. So you go into the view menu and you go show status bar. And this will actually show you how many items are in the window and also the total available free space on your hard drive. And this always shows up in the bottom of every Finder window from now on. These icons on the left are shortcuts, and they take you to different places that are very useful. And then across the top here, you can change your view options from icon to list to column. And these also have keyboard commands, because icon view is command 1, list view is command 2, and column view is command 3. Now, icon view is great for pictures and things like that. And you can actually change the size of the icons by this little slider down in the bottom right here. List view is awesome for like your downloads folder. If you go into list view, you can sort things by kind. You can sort by size or reverse by size, so it's smallest at the top. You can sort by name. It's really handy. And column view is awesome. It's the one I use the most for anything in your documents folders, things like that. I like it because you can use the arrow keys to move around and go up and down through files and folders. And if you're using the arrow keys like this in column view, it'll show you a preview of what this thing is. And the preview actually is great, but if you want a bigger preview, you just hit spacebar on the keyboard and it will zoom into that file. And you just press spacebar again to close it. For any of the power user type settings that you want to have in your view options, just hit Command J on the keyboard and it'll show you your view options for the different folders and things that you're in. And you can sort by different options. If you're in list view, it gives you all the different columns that you can turn on and off, etc. It's very powerful. In Windows, you're used to finding your stuff in My Documents, My Downloads, My Pictures, Desktop, etc. The Mac equivalent of this is the Home folder, where you go into the Finder and you go to the Home folder, and it looks like a little house icon with your name on it. Now this is like the living room of your Mac. All your stuff goes in here. Or, of course, all your stuff can go on your desktop in piles of controlled chaos, just like your actual desk. I always set my Finder to go straight to the Home folder instead of the All My Files thing. So normally when you get a new Mac, when you click on Finder, it takes you to All My Files, which is basically one big list of every single file on your hard drive. And so if you want to change that, you just go to the Finder menu in the top left here and go to Preferences. And then under General, where it says New Finder Window, you change that to the Home folder. And so now, from now on, whenever you go into the Finder window, it takes you straight to your Home folder. Congratulations, I just gave you 2 years worth of free time in your life. Now you can get to your Home folder a few different ways. You can click on the Finder face now, it takes you right there. You can also go to the Go menu and go Home, it takes you there. I like the keyboard command, Command-Shift-H, also takes you straight there. Or if you have like a full screen application open, you're in Safari, if you go Command-Tab to get to Finder, and then press Command-N on the keyboard, it'll take you to a new Finder window, which is a power user way of doing it. In Windows, you can drag stuff onto your taskbar for quick access. The Mac version of this is putting your stuff into the sidebar as shortcuts on the left here, or down onto the dock to the right of the divider. You can put your stuff there too. And that gives you quick, easy access to your files. Especially if you have a folder that is nested deep within multiple folders, like if I go to Business and I go to Contracts or maybe Invoices and I want to get to my 2017 invoices, then this is like 3 folders deep. All you have to do is you just drag the folder and you put it carefully between 2 folders. You don't want to put it on top of something, but you put it between them and it pops in right there. Now this shortcut will always show up right here in any Finder window, which is really quick and really convenient to get access to the stuff that's in here, especially if you use it all the time. You can also put things onto the dock in the same way. You just drag it down onto the dock just to the right of the divider here, and it makes a space for it, and you drop it right there. And if you ever open a file and you're not sure where it actually lives, if you just right click on the actual file name up in the top of the title bar here, if you right click that, it'll show you where exactly in your hard drive it lives. And you could even click on the folder right below it, and it'll take you to that folder with that file highlighted, which is a super convenient and efficient way to get there. You can even rename things. If you just hit return on the keyboard, you can rename something and then hit return again, and it changes the name of that file, and you see even this one that I had open here, it updates right here as well. Now, a lot of people, when they move to Mac, they say, where are those little arrows for scrolling up and down in a big list of files? There's no arrows, there's no little elevator thing. On the Mac, that's actually hidden by default, replaced with the two-finger scroll. So you use 2 fingers and slide on your trackpad like this. If you have the Apple Magic Mouse, you just slide your finger across the top of the Magic Mouse, and you can go up and down like this. And now this is really cool because if you have a second window open and you have side by side, one's behind the other, you can actually scroll up and down using 2-finger scroll like this, and then move over to this one and scroll on this one. It's a super convenient way of seeing anything that you need in 2 windows. All your settings and your options for personalizing in Windows are under Control Panel. Same on the Mac, except it's called System Preferences. And it lives here on your dock. It also lives under the Apple menu. You can go straight to System Preferences from here. And you've got all the different, so these are more personalizing type things. These are more system level type things. And it's friendly. I recommend poking around, looking in the different things, and see what each option does and experiment with it. Like here you've got the scroll bars. You can turn that to always if you want to always have your little scroll bars in Windows like we just talked about. If you don't know what something means, or if it's using crazy acronyms, it's probably better to ask us for help or Google it before you mess with it. To launch a program in Windows, you would normally go to the Start menu or from your taskbar, or in newer versions of Windows, you'd go to Search. Now on the Mac, you go into your Applications folder, and this is where all of your applications actually live. If you want quick access to anything, you can drag it down onto the dock. Like I use Basecamp a lot. I'm going to put it on my dock next to my messages here. If you want to move something around on the dock, you just drag it left or right, and it gives you a nice option for customizing. And you can also right-click something and then go to Options and remove it from the dock if you don't want it there anymore. This is a really easy access panel to get access to your applications, but they actually live in the Applications folder here. If you want a really quick way to launch apps, check out my video about Spotlight. There's a link here. And to uninstall apps, it's actually really easy. You just go into the Applications folder and drag that thing to the trash. If I don't want Basecamp anymore, you just drag it to the trash and that will uninstall it. And once it's in the trash, you just right-click the trash and you go to Empty Trash to get rid of anything that's in there. You want to also check out my video about viruses. You don't need antivirus software anymore, and I go into more detail about that in that virus video. Now this one seemingly very simple thing really messes people up. On the Mac, by default, if you're in an application and you want to save or open something, so I just do Command S like this, it gives you this little compressed version of the save and open dialog, so you don't have full access to all your stuff. Now nobody notices this little button here where it's a little square with a down arrow, but when you click on that, this gives you the full access to your whole Finder file structure, so you can get around, put things where you want. Particularly cool is that you also have access to the sidebar shortcuts that you set up in the Finder earlier in this video. Now this is a really efficient way to go straight to the things that you use the most. And you can see that matches with the Finder here. If I go to my Invoices folder, and it's just a really convenient and really direct way to get access to your stuff. Boom! Mac Epiphanies. If you want someone patient and helpful who speaks your language to come to you and take all your Mac challenges off your mind, head to Macinhome.com.